Welcome to the POG Show. I'm your host, Christine Martindale, Public Information Officer for the City of Port Orange, a city in Central Florida that is unique by choice, not by chance. I will be bringing you powerful interviews and on-the-go info to gain a better understanding of the various services and functions our city provides. So let's get started. Hello, everyone, to episode 004 of the POG Show. I have in the podcast studio with me Police Officer Andre Fleming from the city's police department. Officer Fleming is also the Public Information Officer for the department and the department's recruiter. Additionally, he's also the Community Outreach Coordinator, and he does a lot of training here with the city's police department. Boy, Andre, you do wear a lot of hats.
I do. Good morning, everybody. I a little bit busy for sure. So.
That's awesome. I'm really glad to have you here. I always like to mix it up a little bit, and having people from, whether they're department heads or citizens or, employees, officers just like you. So how long have you been with the city of Port Orange?
Just shy of 7 years.
Wow. And tell us a little bit about your background before arriving to the city.
Sure. Well, I come from a military family, and I joined the military myself. I was in college, and after my freshman year of college, I kind of ran out of money, and I decided to enlist in the Navy. When I enlisted, I ended up joining the Navy Reserve, and then when I graduated, I deployed overseas, and when I deployed overseas, I came back, and my wife, who went to the same college, came down to Palmer Chiropractic to go to school at Palmer, and I came down to visit her one time and ended up staying. So that's how I came to Port Orange, and I've been working for the PD ever since.
And I'm sure you love it. Seven years, it's a long time.
It is a long time. I've had a great experience. I've enjoyed the opportunities, and this PD has afforded me different venues that I can go and express my own talents and techniques that I approach being a cop, and I've had a lot of fun doing that and learning along the way.
And can't forget, in 2019, you were awarded Officer of the Year by the Port Orange South Daytona Chamber of Commerce, and I remember being at that breakfast. Congratulations on that.
Thank you very much.
What an honor that was, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm happy that I could bring that home to our department.
So, you've recently been kind of appointed the Public Information Officer from another officer. And how do you like that portion of your position so far?
I like it. It's certainly different and gives me a different aspect of policing. I always wondered how the people who get to be public information officers get to be in that position, and I was kind of thrown into it. So my predecessor left to do another job, and so I was kind of pushed into that position, but I love it. I'm learning a lot. I get to interact with a lot of different people, and it's very fast-paced, which I liked as well. So the fast-paced nature of it and getting to interact with the media is definitely something that appeals to me.
That's awesome, and I love working with you too.
Yeah, absolutely, and you've certainly helped me a lot with just kind of getting my feet wet and trying not to make too many mistakes.
Oh, and it's been, we all work together, and that's what the city's all about, teamwork and everything. And so, like I mentioned in the beginning of this, you do wear a lot of hats. So let's talk about recruiting. How long have you been a recruiter here for the police department?
Well, I kind of got started in recruiting early on with the department. An opportunity came about at Daytona State Academy for me to go and speak at one of the academy classes, and I really wasn't focused on recruiting, just kind of giving my take on what it means to be a new officer. And really from that point on, I've kind of progressed into becoming into the active recruiting side, and anything from traveling and going to different venues and job fairs to now being the actual recruiter, which means I reach out to people and I kind of walk them through step by step what it takes to become an officer, which is a long process and a very tedious process as well.
Do you travel outside of Florida?
We haven't been outside of Florida yet. We mainly focus on local areas to come and recruit in, but now especially we're kind of expanding our outreach and potentially looking for other states and cities to go visit outside of Florida to go and recruit officers.
So for our listeners, what do you look for a recruit? What are some of the qualities that you look for when you're out recruiting?
Right, so that's a very loaded question. There's a lot, certainly, and no one officer, there's no cookie cutter thing to look for when I look for a police officer. But Port Orange, part of our recruiting method is upholding the standards that we've always had at our city. And our city recently achieved the second safest city in Florida, and part of that is because of our recruiting and our standards. Our standards in recruiting are extremely high. It's extremely rigid and strict, and we do thorough background checks. And then we look at the whole package of the person, what they present to our agency. So in terms of minimal standards, we're not necessarily looking for college degrees or military, but we're looking for people who want to work and people who love the area and people who are committed to serving the citizens and committed to making a difference and investing back into the agency as well.
And that's such a good point, and it kind of leads me to my next question too. The police department is more than just arresting people and giving out tickets. Officers are here to help, right? Talking to kids, being engaged with the public, like you said, going into schools. And so that is a way to connect with citizens. And I think, our police chief is really into about talking about customer service with our citizens is the heart and soul of the PD. We have our core values right here at the city: commitment, adaptability, respect, ethics, and integrity. And so you're touching on all of those, and it's like I said, it's more than just you see a police officer on the road and giving out tickets or just arresting. There's so much more involved with that.
Correct. Yeah, one of the unique things about Port Orange is how vested the citizens feel in the police department, and part of that is because of our community outreach initiatives and how much we interact with our citizens. So we don't want to be seen as just an arresting authority. We want to be in the community, in schools, in your stores. When you see us, feel free to come and talk to us. We want people to feel as connected to the police department as anything else in their lives, because they invest a lot of time and effort and money into the police department, and that's how they should feel. And so we do things like local park walk and talks. We have officers in schools. All of our schools have police officers, uniformed officers going into them and speaking with kids on a daily basis. Things that other municipalities might not be able to do or might not have it as a priority. We've made them a priority with us, and I think it pays dividends in terms of safest cities and stuff like that. Port Orange can provide a level of customer service that is unique to our agency because from day one, our officers have instilled in them that they are a part of the community and that we serve the community, and they take that very seriously. And I think it's made it to where our citizens like the police officers, which is also a unique thing. And like you mentioned earlier, we don't want it to be just that the first time you interact with a cop in Port Orange is that they're giving you a citation. More often than not, our officers are using that as a last resort or as a teachable method. And even in those instances, we still want to provide an interaction that even if you receive some sort of discipline or citation, you still come out with a positive interaction with the police officer.
And what I can think of, too, is shop with a cop.
Yeah.
I always think about that during the holiday time, and
Right.
that comes out in the media, and it's, shopping with, kids who are unfortunate to have a holiday and Christmas and stuff. So I think about that. And, it led me to my other point. In my previous episode here on the POG show, I had a participant from Port Orange University as our Citizens Academy. And I know that on the police side, you've always had a police academy. And that goes far too, because like Port Orange University, those citizens are going through a 10-week program of learning all about the ins and outs of the city, different departments. And I know the police department has had a specific program just for learning about what officers do in like a police academy. So I think I was talking to Chief not too long ago, and I think that's something that probably will resume, next year too. So I think that's just added value to citizens learning not just about the city in general or the public works, public utilities, but to actually go through a police academy. He was talking about the simulators.
Right.
And all of that, like we wrapped up Port Orange University with the police department, and it was a little teaser. And then Chief did mention about, well, if you're interested in this, we've got a program too that citizens can go through. So again, just another added value that citizens can go through and learn more about the police department.
Right. Like we talked about, that investment, that feeling connected, and for me and for a lot of officers, the best interactions we have, the most fun part about our job is when we have those things like Shop with a Cop, or when we get to interact with kids. The other stuff can be fun, the running and gunning and doing all the cool and fancy things, but for me, the instances that stick out most are when I get to interact with people and perhaps change perceptions or make valuable, hopefully life-changing connections with be it kids or adults.
And you're talking about added value. So most recently, the city of Port Orange and the city of New Smyrna Beach announces a new law enforcement firearms and training facility. So that's exciting too, and that just adds value where both departments can utilize this training facility. Having separate ranges, including a pistol range, a tactical range, a rifle range, and again, it's allowed both departments to be able to train more frequently. Do you want to touch on that a little bit too?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the most difficult things about making an effective police officer is training. For the most part, what we have limited amounts of time and opportunity to train police officers on different aspects of their jobs. And in order to be proficient, an officer needs to train a lot. And a lot of the times, facilities aren't available, or facilities are very expensive, or we have to wait in line. The list goes on in terms of being able to get valuable training opportunities. And now what we have is we have the opportunity to have our own range where we don't have to wait. As previously, we had to kind of wait in line or maybe even be a part of a lottery system to get training dates and times and access to facilities. Now we have that. And we have that on our own range where we can bring officers in and train them and get them valuable time, not only with firearms, but with emergency vehicle operations and other things. And so our range offers us a wealth of opportunities to be able to go and train officers and get them prepared so that they can be more effective on the street. And so that hopefully those incidents never happen because they have the confidence and proficiency to use the tools they have in order to maneuver around the negative interactions.
And to sharpen their skills and all of that.
Absolutely.
So that's great. And it's exciting. Another exciting time for the PD for sure. And so this year, another piece of good news from the PD that the PD has been awarded meritorious accreditation from the Commission on Accreditation for Law Enforcement Agencies.
Right.
That's great. So I guess, correct me if I'm wrong, every few years the Commission team examines all aspects of procedures, management operations, and support services. So that's what a wonderful achievement for sure.
Absolutely. It takes a lot of cooperation and like-mindedness from a lot of different people in order to coordinate something like that. And there are different levels of accreditation, and I know a lot of times people have this perception that maybe police departments don't have a lot of supervision, but actually, in order to be accredited, a police agency needs to pass various levels of checks and inspections in order to achieve that accreditation. And what we've been able to achieve at Port Orange is the highest level of accreditation, which again is a testament to not only the investment from our citizens, but the commitment to excellence from our chief our administration, our city council, in order to provide us with the opportunities and the resources to be able to achieve that. So it is a big deal. It's something for recruitment. It's something to where if a recruit was looking at us from another agency or another state, they're going to look for agencies that are accredited. These accreditations carry different ramifications in terms of different qualifications officers might have or may need to have, and it also shows a level of commitment to training, both internally and also sending officers to outside courses to help make them better, which is also good for our citizens. So it lets our citizens know that the officers that they're going to be interacting with are trained to the highest level possible to be able to achieve that.
That's a wonderful achievement. Is there anything else that you want to mention to our listeners? Anything about the PD, recruiting, any last thoughts that you want to give to our citizens of Port Orange that maybe they don't know much, want to learn about the PD from your perspective?
Sure. Well, first and foremost, I want to say thank you, especially now in these interesting times that we're living in. The support is palpable for sure. Anywhere we go, we always have citizens come up and thank us. And so I want to give this opportunity to say thank you for your support. It is very much appreciated. And in terms of recruiting, we are always hiring. I know some people ask if we're hiring. We're always hiring. And we want good people. We want people who are ready to work. And we want people who are ready to invest and, like I said, give back to our agency and our community. And if you're ready for us, we're ready for you. So we look forward to meeting everybody. If you want to apply, you can go to, I think, www.portorangejobs.org, and we have applications available, and you can fill out the app online, and we'll get back with you.
And I know that they can find you also. I know the police department has a separate Port Orange Police Department Facebook page, right? And
yes.
Instagram.
Yes.
Correct, too.
Yeah.
So there's many ways that you can follow the Port Orange Police Department, as well as, of course, our Port Orange City Hall Facebook page and our website, www.port-orange.org. So, again, I just wanted to thank you so much, Andre, for taking the time to speak with me here in the podcast studio. It's been a pleasure, and I think just drawing attention to our police officers and what you guys do, and especially for recruiting, there's just so much valuable information. So I wanted to make sure that I got you on here.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
So no problem. So again, how you can find us: Port Orange. Our website, www.port-orange.org, our Facebook page, Port Orange City Hall, and of course the POG show that can be found on iTunes, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Until next time. Thank you so much for spending time with me today on the POG show. We've only just begun, and with you sharing, subscribing, and leaving a 5-star review for this podcast is really going to help launch us to the next level together.